And welcome to the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts' 5th Annual Mass Black Expo. This land on which we stand is the ancestral territory of the Massachusetts and Wampanoag people. We honor the ancestral homelands of which we gather and the Native and Indigenous people who contribute to the vibrant diversity of our communities across the Commonwealth. I have the pleasure of leading a phenomenal team at BECMA, and we're thrilled to welcome you back to the premier event for showcasing Massachusetts Black-led businesses, professionals, and our allies committed to building thriving and inclusive economy here in Massachusetts. Before we start talking about the Mass Black Expo in detail, let me remind you that BECMA was born in 2015 when it was found that the median net worth of Black Boston households was only $8. And that's compared to white Boston households at nearly $250,000. Many of you were there in Prince Hall when 700 Black residents and Black leaders decided to take action. That action included the formation of BECMA. And today, BECMA is a statewide, member-based organization keenly focused on building Black wealth. Thus far, in 2023, we've supported nearly 400 Black businesses with their grand openings, their development and procurement wins, as well as with grants and back office solutions to help launch and grow their firms. And you will meet many of those entrepreneurs at this year's Mass Black Expo. We've also recently moved the BECMA office to Nubian Square, in the very center of the city of Boston and the heart of our Black community. We recently launched BECMA Community Investments to help address what remains our greatest business challenge, which is the lack of access to adequate and affordable capital. BECMA is nearly 10 years old. And while we've accomplished a lot, there's much more we need to do to truly build Black wealth. And that is why we are all here today. Whether we're entrepreneurs or professionals, students, equity allies, or our elected officials. The commitment to building Black wealth is our common denominator. Before I talk about the specifics of today, I'll turn things back over to Brittany to help us introduce some very special guests.
All right, thank you, Nicole. Nicole will be back in a bit, but now I do have the honor of welcoming a huge supporter of huge supporter of economic equity in the Commonwealth, our Governor, Maura Healy.
Good morning, everyone. It is so great to see you. But I actually cannot see you because the lights are in my eyes, to be perfectly honest. But I hear you and I feel you. This is a great room. I'm privileged to be here with the Lieutenant Governor, who you'll hear from shortly. So many members of our team are in this room today, and in this room with BECMA as a sort of metaphorical matter in this journey. And we are super, super excited to be at this Mass Black Expo. Really excited to be talking about wealth creation and generation, and looking forward to the critical conversations that you'll be having today and throughout the weekend. I also want to thank each and every one of you for what you do. I had a chance to say hi to many of you this morning, and I know to a person, you wear many hats, and I appreciate the passion and the compassion, the vision, the innovation that you bring to all of your various endeavors. And I, as governor, am very, very grateful. You're part of what is really what makes this place special and what gives me hope about the future of our state. I mentioned Nicole at BECMA, and it has been awesome to see BECMA's journey over the last few years, because in just a short amount of time, BECMA has changed the conversation around what economic growth looks like and what it needs to look like in Massachusetts. In addition to lifting up incredible talent and entrepreneurship that has always existed in the Black community around the state, BECMA has also shone a light on the various barriers that exist, and more importantly, what we need to do to remove those barriers, to close those wealth gaps, to ensure that our economy and our folks reach our full potential. You know the studies. If Massachusetts did its job and closed the wealth gap for Black and Latino communities, in just 5 years, the state's economy would grow by an additional $25 billion. I mean, that's equivalent of 100,000 jobs. So we know the moral imperative that exists, the value proposition also around equity. How much time have we lost? Centuries, decades to this. And I'm just so happy that everybody is coming together. You're allowing us in government to come in, private sector, philanthropy, everybody working together to get after it. And BECMA's work has helped move conversations from the periphery of policy to really the heart of an economic vision, and certainly the heart of an economic vision for our administration. I talk about the fact that we're a state of firsts. I fight sometimes with my colleagues in Virginia. I think that this country and Constitution, democracy here in America was born right here in Massachusetts. We've been a leader in civil rights at key moments in the fight for freedom. But we have to be really, really strong right now. I talk about the fact that we're home to the first public school, public library, public park. We were the first to pioneer access to health care, to make sure people had the care that they need. There's a lot that's going for us. And I also think it's important that we challenge ourselves like never before, particularly in this time. And I want you to know that you have governor, lieutenant governor, an administration that is all in and committed, and in particular committed to building Black wealth and making equity a reality in our state. I think it starts with who you have around the table. I'm proud, with the help of many of you, we were able to fill our administration with so many talented folks, including incredibly talented Black leaders. Secretary of Education, Pat Tutwiler, Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development, Lauren Jones, our Secretary of Transportation, Monica Tibbetts-Nutt, our Chief Legal Counsel, Paige Scott-Reed, Chair of our Judicial Nominating Commission, Abim Thomas, Lamar Cook, Deputy Director of our Western Mass Office, amazing, talented Black leaders who are running really important and serious work around the state. We also, of course, have a chief secretary. We used to have a title, Chief Secretary. That's what the position was. I changed that to Chief of Boards, Commissions, and Appointments. And more importantly, April English holds that position. And she is doing a fantastic job making sure that with every agency consideration, board consideration, commission consideration, we are driving diversity of leadership. Tomorrow at 11, April, I know, will be helping to lead a panel discussion on informing and influencing decision-making through membership on boards and commissions. And I invite you to that because there are so many opportunities to help us shape the future of the state through who is sitting and working with those boards and commissions. From the start, we've also been proactive about making sure that Black voices are guiding our priorities and our policies. One of the first things we did was set up an advisory council on Black empowerment, intentionally named Black Empowerment. Tanisha Sullivan and Tony Edwards chair that. They just launched a series of meetings around the state, along with other leaders on the council who represent business, human services, the faith community, labor, education, and more. And of course, the first person I called to say, will you be in, was Nicole Obi. So thank you, Nicole, in addition to all the work you do for BECMA. Thank you for working on the council. And already that council has met with every single one of my secretaries to talk about priorities, to talk about a vision. And now we are taking that work to the public. We just kicked off listening sessions this past Monday night in Roxbury, where they had a phenomenal turnout. This evening, we'll be down at Massasoit Community College in Brockton. Next weekend, we'll have sessions in Pittsfield, Springfield, followed by New Bedford, Lynn, and Hyannis. And this is an opportunity for the Black Empowerment Council to hear from the community about what you believe this administration should focus on and how we should be moving forward. Already, we are implementing policies that we know have positive equity impacts. Free school meals, breakfast and lunch for all students in the state to take pressure off of working families. Free community college for students 25 years old and older to create new pathways into good jobs. Expanded access to affordable health care, an expanded child and dependent tax credit that we signed into law just this week. In our housing investments, we're also looking at how we can close the home ownership gaps. In our education investments, we're working to close opportunity gaps in STEM and arts education, and to make a strong statewide commitment to diversity and access in higher education. Our climate work is prioritizing environmental justice, and our public health teams are prioritizing health equity. So we know that there is so much to be done, and that's why I said at the outset, we got an equity lens on everything we do across the administration. And we are doing for the first time ever an equity assessment of your government. It is your government, to see who's getting the services, who's getting the funding, who's getting the relief, and I look forward to the results of that, whatever they are, because only with data and information and transparency are we going to be able to do what we need to do. I just want to close. I just want to close by again thanking you for the invitation, Nicole, to have Kim and me and the team here at this wonderful conference. And I want to tell you that, I started life in public service as head of the Civil Rights Division in the Attorney General's office. And one of the first cases I brought was to go after the subprime lenders who were lending in ways that, really hurt our Black and Latino borrowers, particularly in the Boston area, but across Massachusetts. And through that work, I came to understand how years of policy making, law making, zoning, rules, regulations, discrimination, intentional and unintentional, bias, led to just incredible wealth disparities right here in our own house. And it was so eye-opening to me, and I just want you to know that I carry that with me to this day. And that's why I love that this conference is focused on wealth generation. And I can't even begin to imagine if you wanted to tally up the lost wealth that happened as a result of so many things over the last 400 years, including right here in this state. And so the idea that you were bringing that energy, that vision, that intentionality to wealth creation is awesome. And we are all in on this. And I say that because we are at a time in our country right now where voting rights are under attack, where civil rights are under attack, where there's an effort to rewrite history. To be clear, Black history is American history. We're proud to talk about DEI. And I just want you to know that here in Massachusetts, we are always going to stand for those things, and we are going to fight for those things, and together we are going to work to advance those things. As upset I get day to day, waking up to see whatever has come over the airways from the day before, the night before. All that does is fuel me. It gives me energy, and it gives our team energy to just get after it all that much more. Today is positive. Today is positive because I have seen across this state the incredible talent of our innovators, of our entrepreneurs, of folks in the business community who are working so hard, doing amazing things. And it's all right there. But we've got to get out of the way, and we've got to remove those barriers that have held people back for far too long. And we need to be intentional about our investments, and very intentional about the money, because it is about the money, and I will say that. So thank you all of you for coming together, and we look forward to supporting you in all ways.
All right, thank you so much, Governor Healy. Now I am pleased to welcome someone working in lockstep with our governor to help expand economic opportunities for Massachusetts residents, our Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll.
Let's hear it for DJ Honey. Thank you, Governor Healy, and thank you, Nicole and Brittany, and thank you everyone at BECMA and all the leaders and change makers here today for another exciting Mass Black Expo. Let's really resonate with that. I hope you can tell we truly operate as a team in the Healy Driscoll administration, and it was great to hear the governor shout out so many of our great teammates. April, of course, we just call her Chief. That's what we call April. So so glad to always be in her presence here today with so many of our other outstanding leaders. And ultimately, Team Massachusetts includes everyone with a stake in our future. That's why we're here, and we invite everyone to be at the table to contribute your ideas and be part of our collective success. As the governor said, equity is a cornerstone in our vision for Massachusetts. It's because we believe in leading on issues of justice and empowering our communities. As a local leader, that really resonates with me. It's because we know that when Black businesses thrive and Black wealth grows, Massachusetts economies, Massachusetts communities, they thrive. It's a simple fact, really. Embracing equity is good for business, it's good for communities, and it's just the right thing to do. And the research is clear. More diversity in leadership positions leads to better decision-making, higher performance, and increased innovation. For example, companies with above-average diversity scores were found to derive 45% of their average revenue from innovation, compared to 26% for companies with below-average diversity scores. Again, above-average diversity, 45% of revenues from innovation. Below-average diversity, 26% of revenues from innovation. Like, math doesn't have an opinion here. And this detail is really important to our story in our state, because more than most states, we rely on innovation. That is what drives our economy. And if we're not achieving equity in business leadership, we're not innovating in a way that's going to be good for our Commonwealth and really enable us to achieve all of our potential. Think about the clean energy transition that's underway. We're going to need a whole new generation of green innovators, green businesses, and green electricians. We've got to make sure that both the business owners and the workforce in the clean energy reflect the people of our state. That's what's going to enable us to secure the value proposition that equity delivers. More innovation, more jobs, more people winning. That's why we're not only committed to supporting diversity and equity within the administration, we're also taking steps to support Black entrepreneurs and business owners across the private sector. As a longtime mayor, I'm really focused on where the rubber hits the road when it comes to our economic policy. What's happening on main streets across our 351 cities and towns. So we're deeply engaged with BECMA's work, and we see you as partners in making our economic vision a reality. Nicole and I personally had the opportunity to meet and talk about what we can do to grow Black business ownership and increase Black business participation in state procurement and contracting, and ensure how our state dollars can help drive these goals. Those conversations will continue as we want to have the opportunities to grow Black businesses really come to life. It's so exciting to see the work that BECMA's already done in that space. I know we can be a force multiplier for more. In addition, our Secretary of Economic Development, Yvonne Howe, recently participated in a BECMA roundtable on Black-owned businesses. She and her team, as they develop a statewide plan, were inviting and welcoming your input, because building an equitable economy is simply a fundamental goal of the process. We are centering this in everything we do, as the governor mentioned, and this economic development plan is what's going to drive our ability to incentivize and compete for the next 4 years. We're making equity-focused programs a part of that economic plan, and we need to know where the pain points are for our Black-owned businesses and what we can best do to address them. That's why, as the governor said, we're committed to engaging and acting on the ideas that come out of conversations that all of you will be having all weekend. This expo presents a tremendous opportunity. It's a moment in our state's journey, not only for you to be able to connect and spark new ideas, but for our state to grow stronger as we move forward. We want to take what's happening here this weekend and make sure we're driving action around that. And that's up to all of us. So glad to be with you here this morning, grateful for the work that's underway, the work that you're going to do this weekend, and really looking forward to partnering you in all of it as we move forward. Thanks so much.
Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll. And before we get going with day one, a few housekeeping items to ensure that you get the most of your investment here at the Mass Black Expo. We have a lot going on today, so please use your Mass Black Expo app to chart your course through our speaker sessions and experiences. And if you're not sure, ask anyone wearing a volunteer t-shirt or a BECMA staff member for help. Earlier this year, the BECMA Board of Directors revised our mission statement to focus on building Black wealth. We then built this event around that theme. Why? Because health and clean air and water and financial security, political power, stable homes, quality education, Black joy. That is wealth. And I want all of that. And I think you do too. Today we're focusing on building Black wealth for business owners and entrepreneurs. Our panel, Wealth in Black Boston, explores our rich and diverse Black community as native Bostonians, transplants from across America, immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, Central and South America. We also have panels on building a winning team, don't go it alone, and growth through acquisition, which delve into enterprise growth strategies. And our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Andre Perry from the Brookings Institute, will take the main stage at noon to tie it all together. Our history, our current state, opportunities for wealth creation as entrepreneurs, and the necessary policy and economic drivers needed to realize greater Black wealth and a better Massachusetts. After lunch, we'll kick off our interactive experiences, including our Black Exhibitor Pavilion, powered by Amazon and curated by BECMA member Black-owned Boss. We'll also have electric vehicle test drives, our EV Kickstarter for entrepreneurs interested in learning and how to get into this growth industry, reverse bidding for contractors, photo booth to capture the moment, and an environmental sustainability space, and so much more. I'd like to say a special thank you to our sponsors for helping to make the Mass Black Expo a reality. Today, we're going to challenge you as entrepreneurs on how you're building Black wealth. BECMA's approach for building Black wealth is based upon our 4 pillars: commerce, entrepreneurship, placement, and ownership. What is your strategy for your firm, for yourself, for your family, for your community? I know you'll be inspired by our speakers and experiences. I urge you to listen, engage, and challenge yourself and others on what you should do to build Black wealth in the Commonwealth. So let's get started. Thank you so much.